In this article, I consider the early philosophical engagement with the advent of nuclear weapons, particularly in the context of the philosophy of existentialism that predominated in the post-war period. To that end, I examined the thought of a variety of thinkers, including Albert Camus, Jean-Paul Sartre, Karl Jaspers, Hans Morgenthau, and Günther Anders. And beyond their diversity, I identify a corpus of thought that we might refer to as nuclear existentialism. Indeed, all these thinkers grapple with the problem of nuclear weapons by confronting the realization that humanity has, in one of its great triumphs of reason, pierced the secrets of nature and acquired newfound powers, but simultaneously stands on the precipice of its own self-annihilation. The existentialists proceed then by identifying the characteristics of this new era in which we find ourselves and see this moment of crisis as to be escaped only by transcending it through a generalized existential awakening. Indeed, they place very little hope in deterrence or arms control or other forms that attempt to put the nuclear genie back in the box. Rather, it is necessary to fully embrace the consequences of nuclear weapons on human existence. They end up counseling that we amplify fear, for what the greatest obstacle to this existential awakening is in fact the denial, the escapism of the masses who refuse to confront this truth. In the paper, I review these arguments and I try to provide a critical assessment of them, particularly from our contemporary perspective. For one, we have to observe that this strategy of fear, or what you might call salutary fear, has, from our present perspective, failed. It did not bring about the awakening that its proponents had hoped for, and if anything, denial and refusal to confront the nuclear condition is stronger than ever, comforted by 8 decades of non-use. Moreover, we might want to question some of the philosophical assumptions underlying the nuclear existentialist position. First of all, and this traces back to the failure to achieve political change, the nuclear existentialists tend to rest on a form of ontological individualism that they inherit from the existentialist position that examines the confrontation of the individual with death, but scale it up to a collective level, but to do so by thinking that individuals will each in their own way find their own existential awakening, and the accumulation of these will lead to political change. This doesn't really provide any clear mechanism for achieving that particular end. Moreover, while there is a recognition among the nuclear existentialists that nuclear weapons induce a particular and deep, profound crisis, they also see it as a reflection of deeper trends in the development of Western civilization, the rise of science and technology, the predominance of rationality. And in that sense, nuclear weapons are merely the culmination of these trends. And in that sense, they end up interpreting the advent of the bomb as a historical necessity, as the moment that will confront humanity to the need for radical change, as a crucible in which humanity will either perish or ascend to a higher state of consciousness. In that sense, they produce a new historical totality, a new teleological narrative in which the bomb becomes a necessity. In the final parts of the article, I try to think of an alternative to conceptualizing the bomb, and one that might perhaps allow us to advance our philosophical engagement. And to do this, I turn to the work of Emmanuel Levinas. Levinas is significant because he sets out a philosophy which he claims stands in opposition to the predominant stream of Western thinking. Indeed, Levinas claims that Western thought has always privileged freedom over justice, autonomy over heteronomy, totality over infinity. In contrast, Levinas grounds his philosophy in the idea of infinite responsibility to the other and the embrace of infinity and the corresponding refusal of the imposition of totality upon the world. And so Levinas offers us a few tentative steps to reground our philosophical engagement with nuclear weapons at a time where the resurgence of nuclear anxiety and the nuclear peril more than ever calls upon us to think deeply about the conditions of our historical situation.